Hey there, welcome back to the Realm of History for Chapter 27 live review. Tonight we're going to take a look at a couple of key particulars. I'm not going to keep you on for too long. I understand that there's a national championship basketball game on, so we'll try to keep it short. It is a shorter quiz as far as for the content. The AP portion is a little bit more lengthy, so I'll have a couple of tips for you in there as well. Extra credit opportunity for +2 tonight. We got the Hunger Games Realm Edition with all-star ballers representing today. We have in our lineup from second hour, Master Phil Assad. We got third hour, Kira H. We got fifth hour, Mia D. Sixth hour, Jake M. Seventh hour, Kylie D. And eighth hour represented by Roman K. So action-packed Hunger Games Realm Edition. I think it's going to be a really tight race. Some dark horses to watch out for there, I will say that. If you haven't checked in with me, make sure that you get in the comments. Let me know that you are here and that you are paying attention. Hopefully those ballers that are selected by their classmates as all-stars will show up. Let's get right into the key advice tonight. Of course, I think you should write some things down from this session. Read through your outline several times through. Make sure you've read your AMSCO 6.1 all the way to 6.8. Hey, as always, pray for the right things, right? You got a quiz tomorrow. It's going to be spring break. Make sure that you're praying the prayer of gratitude, thanking the good Lord for all the blessings that have been bestowed upon you. And, of course, ask the good Lord for guidance. Ask the good Lord to give you the skills necessary to perform well on this quiz. But I wouldn't ask for, success on the quiz, but just to use your talents to the fullest. Number 3, be here now. A lot of people are thinking about spring break or what their plans are. I want to encourage you to focus on the task at hand. Get through this quiz. Make sure that you set academics as your priority first and foremost. Number 4, as always, you need to make sure tonight that you're thanking your parents. Tell them that you love them. Thank them for all the great things that they do for you and for putting up with you. Sometimes I feel bad for your parents because I have to put up with you all day, every day too. So make sure you say thank you to your parents. God bless all of you. And then number 5, we got to make sure that we meet the challenge. We don't shy away from the challenge, but we rise to the occasion. Tomorrow, I would say that the content portion is going to be pretty simple, but the AP portion, I can guarantee, is going to be tough. We'll talk about some AP tips as we get down our list. Okay, here we go. First term on our list are the Boers. The Boers were Dutch farmers that had settled in South Africa and began to farm land there. So they're basically Dutch farmers. They took over land in South Africa, and they're going to be contested by the British in the Boer War. This was a war between the Dutch Boers and the British military, ending in a British win, which pushed the Boers off of that land that they had acquired in South Africa. Next, we'll talk about the Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference is something that we looked at where 14 European nations came together in Berlin, Germany, to discuss how they're going to divide up African land. But with rules and regulations, they did not invite any African countries or leaders to play a part in this. Next is social Darwinism. Social Darwinism is the application of Charles Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest. Taking the survival of the fittest and applying it to the human world is what social Darwinism is. It became a justification for basically European peoples conquering others. Scrolling on down to the term paternalism. Paternalism is the idea that a colonizing country should protect and care for the colonized. But even though they're protecting and caring for it, it did not come with providing or granting the colonized people rights. So no voting, no say in government, but protection from the military. Crimean War was a pretty big deal from Section 3. It was caused by Russia's desire to establish a warm water port. The British and the French did not want this to happen, so they came to the aid of the Ottomans, who controlled the Crimean Peninsula, and they defeated Russia in that effort. Next is the Suez Canal. This was a human-made waterway, a manufactured waterway that cut through the Isthmus of Suez, which connected the Mediterranean and Red Seas. Scrolling on down to the term Raj. Some people had a question about this throughout the day today. It's just a word that's used to refer to the time period of British control over India. This was especially significant after the Sepoy Mutiny, in which the British took full and direct control of India. Next is the term sepoy, since I just mentioned that. A sepoy is an Indian soldier serving in the British Army. Okay. Next is the term assimilation. This is where a colonizer encourages or sometimes forces the colonized people to adopt their cultural practices. So, for example, if the British colonize, let's say, Nigeria, and then they try to get the Nigerians to follow and adopt British culture, that's assimilation. Okay, as I said, I'm going to keep it short tonight for you. We will have the Hunger Games for extra credit, 2 points tonight. But I do want to talk about some AP info. I really don't have a single section that's more important than other in the AP Reading AMSCO. I would say that 6.1 through 6.8 all kind of touch on some important factors. But I do have 4 points of advice that I'd like to share with you right now. Here are my 4 points of advice after looking over the AP portion of the test. Number 1, the first MCQ is going to deal with Muslim and Hindu relations in the region of Bengal. Bengal today is modern-day Pakistan. We learned that there was the partition of Bengal, which divided Hindus and Muslims into 2 separate entities. So you really need to do some research. Whatever's in AMSCO, whatever's in your textbook, maybe doing some outside research on what I just said would be beneficial and helpful for you. Number 2, I think you need to do some research on the Crimean War. Anything mentioned about the Crimean War in AMSCO or doing some outside research on it would be beneficial. When you're doing that outside research, look up the term Tatars, Tatars. That I think might be helpful in understanding the second MCQ. The third MCQ talks about British colonization in Africa, and in particular, it talks about the colonization of the region of Gambia, Gambia, and Kenya, Kenya. So doing some research on those 2 entities, whatever's in AMSCO about that, which there are some good things, would, I think, be beneficial for your studies. Overall, I think in reading AMSCO, you need to focus on sections that discuss India, Africa, and Russia. And especially with those 3 entities, if they are related to imperialism in any way. That's what I would be doing tonight to get ready for the AP portion. Okay, next, and ready, we're going to get into the Realm Hunger Games. So I want to make sure that our ballers from each class are ready. I'm going to check the comments real quick for just a second. And we will have a question and answer session. It's going to be at the end. I love you too. Oh, look at this. Shout out for Master Weber, former student of mine. I don't know what that is on the screen, but Weber's a funny guy. Let's see. Roman says he's going to win. Look at that. He's talking trash. The extra credit is, oh, he's got a sweet pink construction hat. He's going to work, he's saying, I think. Oh, boy, Roman is, oh, boy, he is really throwing the trash talking out there. Let's see. Some cheering on for Phil. Second hour's got some representatives here. You know, I don't see Phil checked in. I see Mia D is checked in for 5th hour. I don't see that Phil is checked in. I see Jake representing 6th hour is checked in. I'm just looking to make sure. Roman is here. I don't see Kylie D. Phil is here. Phil is here. Okay, Phil is here. I don't know. It looks like there's some ballers missing from the All-Stars. We'll see what happens. Here we go. The first baller to answer the question in the chat correctly, okay, will be the winner. All right. Now, question number 1. I'm going to open up the comments. Question number 1 is this. Hold on. I need to take that banner down. Yeah, something like that there, ballers. Okay, here we go. Question number 1 Name the king that was interested in colonizing the Congo. I am waiting. Name the king that was interested in colonizing the Congo. Only the all-star ballers can answer. It looks like, it looks like a lot of people got the answer, but the first one was Phil. Leopold II is correct. So Phil is on the board with one answer correct. Phil is on the board. There's 5 questions, though, but Phil got it first. Master Phil, the girls in third hour call you Human Google, and you've lived up to that reputation. I am pretty impressed. Everybody that did answer did get it right. It's just all about who was the fastest. Weber said Richard Trevithick. Definitely not correct. Okay, next. Grant says Phil commented even before the. I don't think that that's true. No. Okay, let's get ready for the next question. Let's keep the other comments to a minimum, by the way, so that I can filter through. Question number 2, All-Star Brawlers. Here we go. Phil's in the lead. Second hour is in the clear lead. Question number 2. Name the battle in which Menelik II defeated the Italians. Let's see what happens here. Second hour is up. I'm watching the comments. Somebody said Fortnite? No. G. Phillips. Stop talking, G. Phillips. Phil Assad. He misspelled it, but he's got it right. Ottawa. He did misspell it, but there's the answer. Ottawa. He's missing an O, but that's the correct answer. Master Phil's got 2 on the board. I'm telling you, Human Google, I told you, got to watch out for some dark horses today. Wowzers. Okay, here we go. Back to the banners. Somebody's okay. Okay, people are getting a little bit hurt by this, but second hour's got 2. There's 3 questions left. Let's see what happens. Question number 3. Which Egyptian leader supported the construction of the Suez Canal? Phil Assad, right away. No question about it. Ishmael, he is correct. That's 3 in a row. That's pretty much game, set, match. We're going to finish the last 2 questions just for show, but Phil Assad, 3 in a row. That's impressive. Okay, here we go. Second hour is the clear winner. They got the +2, but let's just see how it turns out. Let's see if Phil can keep this thing going. Question number, hold on, I got to get that out. Oh, no. I got to get the comment taken down. Okay, here we go. Got to take that banner down as well. All right, question number 4. What were the 2 common religious practices that sepoys in India followed? 2 common religious practices followed by sepoys in India. Phil Assad, Hindu and Muslim, that is correct. Oh my goodness. Kylie in second right there with the correct answer as well. Wow. Master Phil is putting on a show this evening, ballers. Final question. Let's see if Phil can go 5 for 5. Can we get somebody in this to challenge Master Phil here? All right, here we go. Phil is on fire like Fireball from Pitbull. Question number 5. What war led to the United States acquiring the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico? No bullying, Bryn. Jeez. Phil Assad, 5 for 5, the Spanish-American War. There it is. Game, set, match goes to second hour. Second hour gets +2. Phil Assad, +5. +5. Very impressive. Let's go Phil Assad, +5 for Realm Hunger Games winner. He definitely is Google. Human Google, as Mr. Piles calls him. Okay, let's get to question and answer session now. So I'm going to open up for any questions that you have here for a few moments. Go ahead and fire away. I did see a question earlier. I think it was Nina D up toward the middle. Nina D asked about, do we need to know the 14 countries? She said something about, do we need to know the 14 countries that were at the Berlin Conference? No, you don't need to know the 14 countries. Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead and type away. Real questions, ladies and gents. Second hour is the clear winner of the Realm Hunger Games. Clean sweep, Patterson, yes. Can I briefly go over the important figures? Name which ones you want to know. Menelik obviously was Ethiopian emperor that fought off the Italian invasion by kind of playing the other European powers against each other and stockpiling weapons. You also have Queen Liliuokalani, who was the last monarch of Hawaii. She was kind of driven out of power by U.S. business people who wanted to take over the land to produce sugarcane production, and also Dole Pineapple Company kind of took over as well. You have Emilio Aguinaldo, who led a resistance/independence movement in the Philippines against the United States. Though it was unsuccessful, it led to later independence movements in the Philippines. And I think that's about it that I want to go over right now. Roman, can I give an example of social Darwinism? Well, social Darwinism is a really racist ideology that was practiced during these times. It was kind of applying survival of the fittest into the human world. And it was basically Europeans justifying the fact that they were colonizing African, Asian lands because they felt that they were racially superior to the people that they were colonizing. So that's really one of the key ideas there. If I double ace tomorrow, can you cancel my crew for the rest of the year? Nope, you're on crew for the rest of the year, Grant. Thank you. B. Archer says, can you go over the 4 forms of imperial control, please? I would like to refer you to page 780, Bryn. 780 is the chart that I used to teach the 4 forms of control. So I think that's probably the best way to go about it. I think what's going to end up happening here is I think we need to talk about the 4 types. So I will say first is a colony. A colony is where, all right, you go into a country, take full control, and then you put in place your own government with your own people now taking control of the country. The second one is a protectorate. You take control of a country, but then you leave their local government or their local leaders in charge, and they have to answer to you. So it's a little bit less formal or direct control. Next one's called a sphere of influence. A sphere of influence just talks about, like, yeah, you colonize the country, but what you really do is you don't really take control of the government. You just say, all right, you can only trade with us. You can't trade with anybody else. All the resources that you have, you can only trade them to the United States or whatever country we are. Okay. And then finally, there's finally a faction that you have to understand called economic imperialism, which is just basically where a country like the Dutch East India Company, a company for a country like the Dutch East India Company or like the East India Trading Company in Britain, or like the Royal Nigeria Company from Britain, they go in and they control the economics of a region by utilizing the resources, by employing the people, sometimes making them slaves. But nonetheless, that's basically economic imperialism. It doesn't really have to do with government. It more so has to do with the key economic businesses that are in control there. Got a message from Tom Brady. Hey, Master Langle, Tom Brady here. I've gotten into history since retirement. Can you tell me about the Durham Report? The Durham Report is basically related to Canada. So Canada was a protectorate. Canada was under the control of the British as a protectorate, okay? And they sent in this guy named Lord Durham. Lord Durham kind of investigated the situation between the French people who were in Canada and the English people who were in Canada. And he came up with some suggestions. He's like, well, if you really want to have less friction between the French and the English, what you need to do is you need to send more British people over here to kind of stamp out the French. And that was kind of the report that he came up with to try and help alleviate problems with the French in Canada. Master Jojo says, can you go over Jewel of the Crown? Yeah, this is basically a saying that referred to India being Great Britain or Britain's most valuable colony. So it's like if you have a crown, the jewel that's in the crown is like very precious and valuable. And so the argument is that India was the jewel of the crown. Checking in, Sarah, did you guys win the game? Livonia Franklin, let us know. Emma, do we need to know about the methods of management? So indirect and direct, you will need to know that those are also on the chart on page 780. They could come into play in a multiple choice, possibly a matching. So yeah, I would definitely know kind of the more direct methods of management and the more indirect. For the concept of imperialism, I know what it is, but do you think we need to know all the factors influencing it? Yeah, I mean, imperialism is what this chapter is all about. So know the definition, but you also need to know, like, what's the motivation, the religious ideology related to it, like trying to Christianize, the economic factors, the resource factors, the racial factors. Yeah, you definitely need to know those things. Ben's checking in. Got a check in from Mr. Gisha. Thank you, Mr. Gisha. Sign of strength. Nina says thank you. Whoa, with a picture wars. Oh, donkeys. That is pretty funny. Mr. Gisha, did you type that message from the treadmill? That's weird. Okay. Thanks, Grant. Okay, let's go to, Sarah says, yes, they won 2-0. Sign of strength. Sign of strength. Livonia Franklin is a big school, so that's a big win for the soccer program. Congratulations, ladies. Okay. So Nina, Spain kind of went out of power due to the fact that they industrialized really late. Remember, they had a war against England in which Queen Elizabeth defeated the Spanish Armada and they lost a lot of their ships. So in order to participate in imperialism, you need to have a strong navy. They had a tough time rebuilding. Some inflation set in because they were still practicing mercantilism. That's why. Will you need to know it for this test? No. Not even on the AP part. Will you need to know it for the AP exam? Yes. So it's all an end game process there. Okay, any other questions? We've been on for 25 minutes. That's about where I want to keep it. Marissa's here checking in. Where's that guy Billy who used to ask me if I use shampoo? Yeah, Master Lucas. Yeah, that's basically one of the things I can say for sure. Ben, what is this? Ben is... Hey, I was there too, and I still made it back for the live review, Master Ben. You ran really well, though. Ben ran a 5:30 mile, finished really strong. I saw you. Pretty good stuff. There was lightning, and we did win, though. We did win. Okay. Any other real questions? I'll stay on for another minute or so. Not seeing much activity. I'm going to say, hey, have a wonderful night. Make sure you get your studying done. Be here now. Make sure you say thank you to your parents. But, also make sure you're focused tomorrow. Today was really a difficult day. A lot of people are talking about this or that. I know there's some crazy volleyball game going on. Don't get caught up in all the hoopla. Focus on what you got to do. Make sure you finish this week proper before you go on spring break. You'll feel really crappy if you drop an egg on this quiz and then you go to spring break. However, if you do well on this quiz, you're going to feel good going into spring break. That's what you want. Okay. All right. You're welcome, Caitlin. Thank you for attending. And thank you to all my students. I very much care about you and love you all. And I hope that you're ready for tomorrow's quiz. Have a wonderful night. Oops, wrong button.